Hey guys, I'm Karim Osman. I'm one of the competition fighters, and I'm interviewing Josh Barnett today. We're part of the Den Leiden, a team in Leiden in Holland. And I'm here with Josh Barnett, the UFC heavyweight, fresh off his win against Arlovsky. The list of accolades that he's got: he's been the UFC champion, he's been Pancrase champion.
He also has an almond cookie right now. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Yeah, I do too. So hello Josh. Oh, sorry. Hello Josh. So how are you doing?
Pretty good now that I got this. I've been starving.
Yeah.
I mean, just got done teaching a 4-hour seminar about that, all on the technique of the double wrist lock.
Yeah.
As people in the jiu-jitsu world often call it the kimura, or in judo, the udagarami. But I find that it's one of the best holds out there. I find that even though it's simple, there's so much that you can do with it. And I find that it comes quite easily. Mm-hmm. But all things start with the basics. So today was a lot about the basics.
Mm-hmm. And usually whenever you want to build up on basics, people always ask slight differences in details. How quick are you to let people onto advanced techniques?
It really depends on what they're trying to accomplish and what level they are. So if it's a competitive person that, the reality is the basics are important to everybody no matter what skill level they are. And advanced techniques are usually just longer chains of movement or, counter to the counter to the counter to the counter. I mean, but it all ends up just being a bunch of basics strung together. So when a person is a high-level competitor and they've got that experience, then I can move through parts that I don't have to go over with them because they already understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's still good. I still teach professional fighters stuff that I'm just teaching today.
Okay, yeah, well that's great. I mean, you obviously open us up to different things, and that's always wonderful. But because we're a catch as catch can school, what is catch as catch can? How would you define that?
Well, catch as catch can is a wrestling style originating from Lancashire, England, and it's basically pinning and submissions at the same time. There are no real limitations on what type of submissions you can use, which also helps broaden the perspective of what type of hold you can work on. It's got a strong takedown aspect to it, so it's not, you can't forfeit going for the takedown. You have to put your opponent on their back somehow, one way or the other. They're going to put you on your back.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very vital skill, especially for MMA and even for just self-defense. The other thing about catch as catch can is that we're a bit rough on people.
Yeah.
It's not that you're out there breaking the rules or something like that, but it's just that our approach is much more down and dirty. More gritty, more violent in a degree. So, we'll use pressure point holds. We'll put our elbows in spots. Yeah. We'll, crank the neck.
Cross faces as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, what's your favorite submission? Where do you feel most dirty whenever you're going in for something?
Anything that works, especially, is always a favorite of mine. Everything that gets me the win. But I love the clock head scissor. That's one of my favorite techniques. I love leg locks. I'm also just a big fan of most neck locks, especially because the way people react to being put in a neck lock and a neck lock itself, it's almost like panic for fear for life.
Yeah.
And I like seeing people deal with that.
Yeah. Gives different reactions and whole different aspects of the game.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And plus, I mean, most places don't train neck locks, and someone starts cranking on your vertebrae, you get real worried.
Yeah. And I mean, you've mentioned also, to me at least, that you're here in Holland for a while. Mm-hmm. So what do you like about Holland? What are 5 things that you like about Holland?
Geneva, Korenwijn, the Rijksmuseum.
Yeah.
Stroopwafel.
Yeah.
This almond cookie's right up there.
Yeah? Oh, nice.
In general, I've really enjoyed the architecture, the people.
Yeah.
I like verkeerd.
Yeah, coffee verkeerd. Yeah. The coffee wrong. Yeah.
I've really found everything to be very pleasant. Nowhere is perfect, so I never have that assumption.
Okay.
But From what I've seen so far of Holland and Europe in general, I've been really pleased.
Nice. And you know, a lot of the times guys or MMA guys come into a gym and they look for advice, and they will always look up to a fighter such as yourself. And what's some advice you'd give to an MMA fighter?
Well, the more importantly, I tell them beyond techniques and things like that, I say you got to do this for passion. Don't do it for money. Don't do it for fame. Don't do it for anything external. You have to do it for your own individual reason and for the passion of doing so. Because if you don't utterly love this, you will fail, and it will be miserable, and it will just suck because it's too hard. It's too hard on your body. It's too hard on you mentally to be the kind of thing to do without love. So make sure that you love what you do. The other thing is focus on just being 1% better the next day than you were this day. So if you can get off the mat 1% better than you were when you got on it, that's a win. You know, even though that guy might have beat you, that guy might have beat you, or you had a tough time with it, doesn't matter. Like they're on their own journey. You can use some of those things to help you gauge what you're doing. But the reality is, you need to be looking at you from your perspective, from as the individual. And if you're getting to your best version of you, then what success you can have is what is as high as what you can achieve. And you know, sometimes we will be world champions, sometimes we won't. But the reality, but what's most important is that you become the best that you can become. And so you need to be very aware of that. That sometimes that means you have to put your ego aside and you have to do the things that you don't like to do. You have to wrestle in ways or compete in ways and do drills that you suck at. They're a weakness, and you're gonna have people taking advantage of you because of it. But that's how you make a weakness into a strength.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in what you say, and I feel like grinding it out is always the perfect way to always understand the fact that it is hard. It's not easy, and if it was easy, everyone would be world champion.
That's true. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody would love to be tough. Everybody would love to be strong and physical and think that they could handle themselves.
Yeah.
Not just men, but women too.
Yeah.
But it takes work. It takes mental toughness and it takes physical toughness.
Yeah.
And people just, it's often more than they're willing to endure.
Yeah. And when you were growing up fighting and training, is there someone that you looked up to, a fighter that you enjoyed watching?
Oh, for sure. I liked watching Eric Paulson. I really looked up to my coach, Matt Hume, and the guys in the gym. You know, there's a reason why I would train under like Billy Robinson and Carl Gotch. I mean, they paved the way, and they're great men for a reason. So I've had a lot of inspirations in my career.
Yeah. And I mean, to give a big shout out to all the catch wrestling fans out there and things like that, is there something that you'd want to say?
You guys got to compete. You got to go out. You got to get on the mat. You got to push it. If all it's available is a jiu-jitsu competition, compete. If you need to get on the mats more and you don't have a big club, go train at jiu-jitsu clubs too. Go train at judo clubs. Go freestyle wrestling, folk style if they got it, especially. Go get on the mat. Go try everything. Watch the YouTube videos, drill, do all this stuff, but get out there and compete. Get out there and go live. If you don't, you're just selling yourself short, and it's really hard when catch wrestling is a competitive art. You know, it gets on the mat, it goes for real. If you're not going for real, then what you're doing just can't be that good.
Yeah. Well, you heard it, guys. We just finished off learning how to fight war with the warmaster himself. Thank you very much, Josh Barnett, and I hope to have a nice, safe trip back home.
Should be good.
Thank you for the seminar.
Well, I got almond cookies, so I'm already ahead of the game.